I am very capable of making myself happy and providing for myself.
I mean, literally nobody asked, but carry on. Yo, what is going on, guys? It is Taylor The Fiend back again with another response video. And on today's episode, guys, we have here a divorced woman who is returning to the dating market only to find out that men are not interested in committing to her. She says that she's sick of the games and it seems like she is ready to settle down again, question mark. But she just can't seem to find a guy who's going to take her seriously. But guys, before we jump into today's episode, just want to give a quick shout out to the Modern Women Archives channel. I left a comment on your most recent video, man, so make sure you check that out. Also, guys, don't forget to subscribe to our other content creators, Hidan from Peace of Mind and Detective Warg. They're putting out daily content, or at least semi-daily content for you guys to enjoy. So make sure you show them some love, because I'm sure they are pulling out their animated hair as well. But without further ado, let's take a listen to what this woman has to say, guys, on her post-divorce dating life.
Yeah, I wish somebody would have prepared me for the dating world after my divorce. I had no idea that so many grown-ass men still like to play petty games. Like, seriously, I am 100% content by myself.
If you were 100% content by yourself, why are you making this video in the first place? I love all of these boss babes, these queens, guys, that get on TikTok and other social media platforms and they rant about men, or they rant about dating, and they say dating sucks for me. Right? And they clearly, you know, oftentimes they bring nothing to the table. Like, this woman still looks fairly good. I'm sure she could get a husband or a boyfriend or something like that. But you just love how these women get on these platforms. They cry about their dating situations, but then they want to follow it up by saying, oh, I'm okay being by myself. Also, like, nobody prepared you, quote unquote, prepared you for the dating market after your marriage, because when you get married, you're supposed to stay married. Guys, this modern day attitude towards marriage where it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get married for 2 years, I'm gonna get married for a little while and then take half his crap, is so disgusting. And I see it absolutely everywhere, and it makes men not want to get married. I cannot make a video and suggest men ever to go out, to go out there and get married, because it's a stupid idea. You're not supposed to re-enter the dating market after you get married, and you can't cry about the results when you're 10, 15 years older than where you were when you first started your relationship with the previous guy, or whatever the case may be. Hell, these days it might even be like a couple of years, but you see what I'm saying? You're not supposed to re-enter the dating market when you're married.
I am very capable of making myself happy and providing for myself.
I mean, literally nobody asked, but carry on.
I am busy. I don't have time for games. I am trying my best to be successful in my job. I'm trying to build a home for me and my kids.
Okay. So let's break this down. So she's a career woman with kids, and she's wondering why men don't take her seriously after she's been divorced. So it seems to me, guys, like she could have possibly taken the kids from the previous husband. She's divorced, and now she's expecting men to take her seriously, when any man who enters her life is at least going to come below herself, going to come below the kids, and going to come below her career. These are things, like, a lot of modern women seem to get this idea that focusing on your career, being a boss babe, is something that's attractive to men. Like, it makes men want to stay around. Men, I've said this so many times, man, but girls just can't seem to get it through their head a lot of the times. And I really don't mean to be an a-hole when I say this, guys. I think a lot of women just genuinely do not understand this. Men do not care about your career or your kids, nor should they have to. right? Like, why would a man enter your life and then say, you know what, I'm going to sacrifice my future, like my earnings, my resources, my time, my attention, my care for your kids? You should have stayed with the man who you had the kids with. I saw this comment, literally, guys, the video before this, okay? I covered a Reddit story where a woman was talking about how her mother was a good mother, but she didn't have a father figure growing up. I'm like, these two things are mutually exclusive. If you have kids with a man, you better damn well stay with that man. Okay, your kids are going to grow up in a world without a father, and that's a terrible thing. You shouldn't be going out here, right? You get with the dude, you have kids with him, you marry him, and then you divorce him. That's not how it's supposed to work. You can fracture your family if you want to, but it's a terrible thing and it doesn't make you a good mother. And then certainly you don't have a right to complain about it when you return to dating, because you are not what men are looking for.
I'm trying to stay healthy. I'm trying to maintain relationships with my friends and my family. I don't have time for stupid games. I don't have time for it. So, just throwing this out here. If you want to come into my life to cause chaos and confusion and to play stupid games, just leave me alone.
Okay, so let's talk about this for a second as well. Women will oftentimes complain and say that the men that enter their lives are causing chaos, confusion, anxiety. They're always playing these silly games. Men do not enter your life. You welcome men into your life. You can choose to reject these men. You can choose to not allow these dudes into your life. Guys, I cringe at this point. Whenever I either cringe or I just like laugh to myself. Whenever I hear girls say that, oh, they always attract bad men. It's just, no. You're choosing the bad men. You're choosing the men who won't commit to you. What you're not talking about here is accountability. You refuse to take accountability for the men that you choose to let into your life. That's like me going into a store, guys. I buy something and then I'm like, man, I always seem to attract this particular item. Like, what do you mean, Taylor? You bought the item. You see what I'm saying, guys? Like, you see how the logic doesn't add up here? Because what she's doing is she's removing accountability from the situation.
Seriously.
Guys, we have another clip here, and this is from a separate woman. And this is a girl who is dating in her 40s, which, by the way, guys, I can never tell how old these people are with like the filters and the makeup and crap like that. And by the way, these are the same women that will complain if you lie about your income, but they always seem to lie about what exactly they look like, which is a whole nother argument that we can talk about at another point in time. But we have a woman here who's going to tell us the things that she has learned about dating in her 40s. So let's take a listen, because all of these girls, by the way, who get to these ages and they get divorced or their long-term relationships end, or chances are they've never even had a long-term serious relationship. They get to this age and they're like, man, I missed out on my chance to have kids or to have a long-lasting relationship. Men don't want me anymore. And it's just all downhill from there.
Dating over 40 is hard as hell. We know too much about ourselves and what we think we want. But sometimes what we think we want is not really what we want.
And guys, we're going to crack into this in a Reddit story in a second, okay? But it's funny, right? Because when girls get to this age, they're like, yes, now's the time in my life that I'm looking for security. I'm looking for a guy who's going to be there, who's going to meet my needs. But what these women come to realize is that they're not actually attracted to those men, by the way. So women will get to the age 30 or they'll creep up and they'll be like, damn it, I need a good man. I need a man who's going to take care of me. I need a man who's going to provide, a man who I can have kids with or whatever. So she goes off and she does these things, but oftentimes the man who will commit to her or the guy who will give her what she wants in terms of stability is not who she's attracted to. This is why a lot of girls around this age, they'll commit infidelity and stuff like that. Or, dudes will come to realize that the kids that they have aren't actually theirs. I think paternity tests should be absolutely mandatory nowadays, by the way, guys. But they get to this age and when they're looking for something serious, they can't lock down the chads. They can't lock down the guys that they're genuinely attracted to. So they lose their marbles over it. They get with a guy they don't respect. They divorce him. They take the kids. And the story is as old as time, basically.
Same types of relationships that have the same unhappy ending. And I've found that in order to break the cycle, you have to do the work and heal from within.
And there's that word again, guys, right? The attract word. Oh, I just seem to attract guys who don't want a relationship with me. I just seem to attract men who don't take me seriously. Or I just seem to attract men who I don't respect. All of this is just basically like whenever these girls use the word attract, what they're really saying is, I don't want to take accountability for the kinds of men that I allow in my life. I don't want to take accountability for the types of dating situations, marriages, relationships that I end up in. So what do? I blame the guy. And then I said, oh, you know, I say he enters my life as opposed to I chose him to be in my life.
And that is a lifelong journey.
It's a long road.
I mean, I wouldn't even say it's a journey. This is something that you could realize when you're very young. But a lot of girls will put this off and they'll go, you know what? I'm just going to date the bad boys. I'm going to date the bad boys. Then they reach 30. Okay, then they try and lock down a guy who's going to be stable and there for them, and then they divorce him and they take the kids, as per the first woman in this particular video. But guys, let's jump into today's Reddit story momentarily, and this ties in perfectly to what we're talking about here today, where a lot of girls, when they get older of age and they're looking for that security, they oftentimes find that it's difficult to be attracted to the man that they get security from. In other words, they go out, they get a guy who's naive, a guy who's got resources, and then they use him and then they go back to the bad boys. But guys, before we jump into today's Reddit story, if you're interested in supporting the channel, make sure that you come and join us over on Locals. I advertise Locals a lot over here, guys, because you never really know when YouTube will kick us all off of the platform for saying the wrong damn words. So if you're interested in supporting the channel, make sure that you come and join us over on Locals. But let's jump into this Reddit story here. And this is a disgusting one when you sit down and you think about the implications for a moment. So it is titled, this is from 3 days ago in the subreddit dating over 30. Okay, if you guys go to these subreddits, you'll notice a trend where the women dating over 30 will always complain about not being able to find a guy that they're attracted to, and the men over 30 will often be complaining about, you know, actual issues, like their marriage is falling apart and they can't actually solve the problem, or you know, men seem to have genuine issues when they get on these subreddits, like being able to attract someone to begin with. Women are just ungrateful for the options that they have on these subreddits, which is really quite disgusting. But let's jump into the story here. This individual, who's a woman, whose name is Traveling Pants 890, says, I'm just going to put it out there. I think the quote-unquote spark mentality is a little confusing, a little overrated, and at times could be misleading. I've tried dating someone with the spark before, and while yes, it lasted in a long-term relationship, I felt like it made me overlook the red flags that ultimately led to our breakup. Now, I met a guy who is lighthearted and fun, but at the same time deep and Now, I met a guy who was lighthearted and fun, but at the same time deep and serious. Yet I felt no spark on our first date. No fireworks, butterflies, no anxieties, none of that giddiness, but has since changed the more I know him. But there was something about him on that first date that made me realize, wow, I could marry this guy. Like a very calm thought. I didn't feel that he got a spark with me either, but here we are dating 2 months, going slow and steady, and it's everything that I've wanted. So guys, I wanted to draw your attention to this particular thing right here. She says that she met a guy, there was no spark on her first date, no fireworks, butterflies, and anxieties. Guys, I have been saying this since the beginning of the channel, okay? A lot of women, they don't actually fall in love. Right? They just feel anxiety. They have fear of missing out. They fall in love with the dopamine. Okay? If a girl is literally, guys, this woman is sitting here saying that if there's no anxiety, if there's no butterflies, if there's nothing that's making her stomach tie into a knot, she's really not attracted to the man. Again, a lot of guys don't seem to understand this. They get into long-term relationships and they just want to keep it smooth waters, do everything right, try and make the woman happy. When a lot of these women are not attracted to happiness, guys. They're attracted to anxiety. They're attracted to the guy who she feels as though is going to leave her. All of these things, which all in all are quite negative. Quote-unquote negative. But let's keep going. Have you gone forward with dating someone you didn't feel the oh-so-ever elusive spark with, and how did it turn out? Edit. Oh my goodness, this woman literally put the letter Z in front of, oh my goodness. The responses. I feel like I should have created a poll because it sounds like the consensus is completely split down the middle. For those who mentioned what I said about me seeing myself marry this guy, we found out we have scarily similar upbringings and coming-of-age experiences, along with many parallel values and beliefs, more so than the other guys I've met. So this guy, this new guy that she's met, guys, doesn't give her anxiety, seems to be more deep and serious and calm. And wouldn't you know it, she's the dude, he's the dude that she is talking about marriage with. She's not talking about marriage with the guy who gives her anxiety or the guy who gives her butterflies, even though she would have had plenty of bedroom fun experiences with them. Now she's ready for something more and more serious. She's not necessarily as attracted to this guy, but he's marriage material. Guys, if a woman says that you're marriage material or your boyfriend material or later in life you'd be a fantastic partner, these things are not compliments. They really aren't. It just means that you're like the naive guy who's going to be there for her when she's done with the bad boys. So let's keep going. He is extremely handsome, and while I get intimidated with good-looking guys, I feel very comfortable with him. Look at that, very comfortable. I do look forward to seeing him more and more as time passes, and it gets more difficult to be apart. And for once, I met a guy who is really leading the relationship. It's usually me in the past. So would you look at that? In the past, it was her chasing. Right? It was her trying to lead things, trying to set up dates. But now she's found this one guy who seems to be leading, guys. And although the spark's not there, she's seeing how things go. Don't be this guy, man. Don't be the guy who's like, you know, she's there, but she's trying to work on the spark and she's trying to see if she feels something. Just, it's so disgusting how women will get to this age, man. And then they'll go for the guy who's like naive and whatever after she's been through all the bad boys. And then this is the guy that she wants to marry. This poor guy, man. This is the healthiest start of a relationship I have ever had. Red flag. We're still very new and no labels yet, so I'm wishing on the stars to give me some luck with this one. Wow, would you look at that? No labels yet, guys. Fantastic dating, right? Isn't that just so strong and empowering, guys? These modern women, when they're out here dating, rather than secure the commitment up front, they just casually see the guys with no labels, and then they just hope that they get a relationship. Jeez, man, what is that? I do believe that the quote-unquote spark I was implying could be feelings of anxiety I've had with other guys I've dated and ultimately turned out really bad. Wow, you don't say. In the past, I have had anxious avoidant types of attachment, so that could explain part of it. Yeah, you have the anxious part of the attachment, my friend. But of course, everyone is different. What may be my version of what I interpret as a spark is very different from another's definition of a spark. It really isn't, as it seems from this thread. But guys, we're going to be leaving today's episode there. I'm pretty sure I've contracted some sort of disease reading this particular article. But let us know what you guys think in the comments about some of the things that we have covered here today. Don't forget to subscribe to our other content creators, Hidan from Peace of Mind and Detective Warg. And don't forget to take care of yourselves, guys. And I'll be seeing you all in the next episode. Peace.